One building on this list took 144 years to build and only reached its final form this year in 2026. One was built by a grieving emperor as a monument to his dead wife. One looks like a spaceship that landed inside a 17th century desert fortress city. Architecture is humanity's most permanent art form, and these 5 buildings represent the absolute peak of what we are capable of building. Today, we count down the 5 most beautiful buildings in the world. Welcome to Fresh Top 5. We are ranking these 5 buildings by architectural ambition, craftsmanship, cultural significance, and the sheer emotional impact of standing in front of them. These are not just structures. They are humanity's attempt to build something that outlives us, that moves us, and that makes us feel something larger than ourselves. Coming in at number 5, the Sydney Opera House, Australia. There are very few buildings on Earth that have become the defining visual symbol of an entire nation. The Sydney Opera House is one of them. Its series of soaring white shell-like sails perched on the edge of Sydney Harbour has become one of the most photographed and instantly recognizable silhouettes in world architecture, instantly identifiable from a single glance on any continent. The story of its construction is almost as dramatic as its design. Danish architect Jørn Utzon won the International Design Competition in 1957 with a concept so radical that engineers initially said it was structurally impossible to build. The shells, which Utzon eventually realized should be cut from a single imaginary sphere to make construction feasible, required entirely new architectural engineering techniques that did not exist before this project. The roof is covered in over 1 million gleaming white and cream ceramic tiles, designed to shimmer and change appearance depending on the angle of the sun. The project took 14 years to complete, 6 years longer than planned, and Utzon resigned before it was finished over disputes with the government on costs and design changes, never seeing his masterpiece completed in person. He never returned to Australia. But in 2007, the Sydney Opera House became one of the youngest buildings ever inscribed as a UNESCO World Heritage Site, a building barely 34 years old, recognized alongside the pyramids and the Acropolis. Today, it hosts over 1,800 performances a year and remains one of the busiest performing arts centers on the planet. Number 4, the Burj Khalifa, Dubai. Standing at 828 meters, the Burj Khalifa is not just the tallest building on the list. It is the tallest building human beings have ever constructed anywhere in the entire history of our species. To put that height in perspective, if you stacked the Eiffel Tower on top of itself twice, you still would not reach the top of this tower. From the observation deck, on a clear day, you can see for over 95 kilometers in every direction. What makes the Burj Khalifa beautiful is not just its scale, it is the precision of its design. Architect Adrian Smith based the tower's spiraling form on the geometry of a desert flower, the Hymenacalis, with its structure tapering gradually as it rises, reducing wind forces that would otherwise threaten a building of this height. The exterior is clad in over 26,000 hand-cut glass panels that shimmer and change color throughout the day as the sun moves across the Dubai sky. Building it required over 330,000 cubic meters of concrete and 103,000 tons of steel rebar. At night, the tower transforms into the world's tallest LED canvas. Choreographed light shows synchronized with music play across its entire height during New Year's Eve celebrations, watched by hundreds of millions worldwide. The Burj Khalifa is more than a skyscraper. It is a statement that a small desert emirate could, in less than a decade, build the single tallest and most architecturally daring structure on the surface of the Earth. Number 3, the Taj Mahal, Agra, India. No building on Earth carries a more devastating love story than this one. In 1631, Mughal Emperor Shah Jahan's beloved wife, Mumtaz Mahal, died giving birth to their 14th child. Consumed by grief, the emperor vowed to build her a tomb so beautiful that it would make the angels themselves gasp in envy. What he created over the following 22 years became, by near universal consensus, the single most beautiful building ever constructed by human hands. 20,000 workers and craftsmen labored on the Taj Mahal for 22 years. The white marble was sourced from Makrana, over 300 kilometers away, and transported using a fleet of 1,000 elephants. Precious stones, jade, lapis lazuli, turquoise, sapphire were imported from Tibet, Afghanistan, Sri Lanka, and Persia for the intricate inlay work that covers every surface. The marble itself was chosen specifically because it changes color throughout the day: soft pink at dawn, dazzling white at midday, golden at sunset, and pale blue under the light of a full moon. The architects designed the building with mathematical perfection. The structure is in nearly flawless symmetry from every angle, except for one deliberate detail: the cenotaph of Shah Jahan himself, who was buried beside his wife after his own death, breaking the symmetry of the room as the only asymmetrical element in the entire complex, a final, quiet act of love. Today, the Taj Mahal receives over 6 million visitors a year, and it remains, in poll after poll across the world, the single building most people describe as the most beautiful they have ever seen. Number 2, the Sagrada Familia, Barcelona, Spain. This building story might be the most remarkable in the entire history of architecture. Construction began in 1882. Antoni Gaudí took over the project in 1883 and dedicated the remainder of his life to it, over 40 years, fully aware that he would never live to see it finished. He famously said, "My client is not in a hurry." He meant God. He died in 1926 with less than a quarter of the building complete. What makes the Sagrada Familia genuinely unlike any other building on Earth is Gaudí's design philosophy itself. He rejected straight lines almost entirely, insisting that nature contains no straight lines, and that a building dedicated to God should be built from the same organic geometry found in trees, bones, and seashells. The interior columns branch upward like a forest canopy. Light pours through stained glass in colors that shift from cool blues and greens on the nativity side to fiery reds and oranges on the passion side, designed to evoke birth and death within the same sacred space. After 144 years of construction, interrupted by the Spanish Civil War, funding crises, and a global pandemic, the central tower of Jesus Christ was finally completed on February 20th, 2026, exactly 100 years after Gaudí's death. At 172.5 meters, it is now the tallest church building on Earth, surpassing Germany's Minster. Pope Leo XIV held a ceremonial blessing to mark the milestone. A building started in the 19th century, finished in the third decade of the 21st. No structure on this list demonstrates more patience, more faith, or more astonishing artistic vision than this one.
And the most beautiful building in the entire world, the Sheikh Zayed Grand Mosque, Abu Dhabi. When you stand in front of this building for the first time, something happens that very few other structures on Earth can replicate. The breath simply leaves your body. Built between 1996 and 2007 as the vision of the UAE's founding father, Sheikh Zayed bin Sultan Al Nahyan, this mosque was designed not as a monument to one nation or one school of Islamic architecture, but as a unifying tribute to Islamic design from every corner of the Muslim world, all at once. 82 domes of varying sizes rise across the complex, no two of them identical, each carved from pure white marble that seems to glow from within under the desert sun. Over 1,000 columns line the courtyards, many inlaid with mother-of-pearl, semi-precious stones, and intricate floral marble mosaics imported from Italy, Turkey, India, Germany, and Morocco. The 4 minarets soar to over 107 meters, designed in 4 distinct regional architectural styles to represent the breadth and unity of the global Islamic world. Inside the main prayer hall hangs one of the largest chandeliers ever made, over 15 meters tall, weighing 12 tons, encrusted with millions of Swarovski crystals. Beneath it lies the largest hand-knotted carpet on Earth, covering over 5,600 square meters, woven by 1,200 artisans and weighing 35 tons. It took 2 years to complete and required the construction of a custom-built loom large enough to hold its entire dimensions. The mosque can hold 41,000 worshippers at once, and it remains open to visitors of every faith every single day. A deliberate choice that reflects its founder's vision of beauty as something meant to be shared, not guarded. The building's lighting system is itself a work of art. A specially designed lunar lighting program subtly shifts the color and intensity of the mosque's illumination to mirror the phases of the moon, growing brighter as the moon waxes and dimmer as it wanes. Every single detail of this building, from the carpet beneath your feet to the light falling from the sky above, was designed with one singular purpose: to create the most overwhelming experience of architectural beauty that human craftsmanship could possibly produce. Most who visit agree it succeeded completely. The Sheikh Zayed Grand Mosque, the Sagrada Família, the Taj Mahal, the Burj Khalifa, the Sydney Opera House. 5 buildings, 5 completely different stories of grief, of devotion, of ambition, and of nearly 150 years of patience. Architecture at its absolute best is proof of what human beings can achieve when imagination refuses to accept the limits of what came before. Drop a comment. Which of these buildings would you most want to stand in front of? And subscribe to Fresh Top 5. New Top 5 every week.